It's time to take our minds off politics for a while and turn to the glittering, glamorous world of entertainment. Let's have a look at some of the wonderful productions Hollywood has planned for our amusement in the year to come. Scheduled for release in theaters next fall is the exciting horror flick, Attack of the Hateful Orange Monster Who Really Sucks and Is Hateful. A studio press release describes the picture as, quote, the thrilling story of how climate change deniers cause a massive upsurge in radiation which forges much of the world's clay into a gigantic orange beast who tramples on all our hopes and dreams, encouraged by a mob of fat, ugly, stupid, fat, white people who come from places in the Midwest or somewhere like that you wouldn't even want to visit, let alone live in, and who suck just as badly as the monster and are fat and white, unquote. The director of the film, Jacques Destain, said he felt sure audiences would turn out in droves because, quote, people are so stupid they don't even know when they are being insulted. That's why my last picture, Up Yours, You Right-Wing Pieces of Garbage, pulled in nearly $1,400 at the box office, a major step toward making back its $200 million production budget, unquote. On television, Fox and CBS are teaming up for a storyline that combines Madam Secretary with The Exorcist. According to network press materials, the multi-part tale will, quote, dramatize how the steely-eyed, frosty-haired Secretary of State Elizabeth McCord moves to save the nation by running for president, only to have a demon out of hell take possession of all the voters outside of New York and California and force them to vote for a gigantic orange monster created by global warming deniers and cheered on by fat, white, ugly, stupid, white, fat people who are also possessed with horrible demons so that their faces rot and they become hideous and fat and white, unquote. CBS TV producer Manny Clueless told TMZ, quote, I feel certain the new series will score big ratings among the key demographic of viewers who enjoy having their most cherished beliefs trashed by a bunch of rich showbiz moguls, unquote. Fox TV producer Sammy Clueless, no relation to Manny Clueless, they just both happen to be clueless, added, quote, if my show can score with the hundreds and hundreds of left-wing viewers across America, I feel certain I can score with the cute hippie chick in accounting, unquote. Finally, on the music scene, Miley Cyrus is planning to release a new album called You Stink America, I Hate You, which will include the hit single, A Canada of the Mind. To excite interest in the album, Cyrus has pre-released the lyrics to the song beginning, I'm going off to find a Canada of the mind. I'd have gone to Canada for reals, but it's too far from Beverly Hills. Miss Cyrus said she would sing the entire song while twerking naked to distract her audience from the fact that she can't carry a tune and that she despises them. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
I feel hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, ipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
Hurrah, hooray, it's Mailbag Day! Woohoo, yay! So the Mailbag, if you want to be in the Mailbag next week, you got to subscribe to the Daily Wire. It's just a lousy $8 a month, and you can ask any question you want, and we will answer them all, 100 answers, 100% guaranteed correct, and 98.7% guaranteed to change your, let's face it, miserable life, which would be so much better if you would just subscribe. But the Mailbag doesn't come until after the 15-minute break, so you will have to come over to the Daily Wire to listen if you're watching on Facebook. I hope, are we on Facebook? We've been having such troubles. Yay, okay, we made it yesterday all through the show. So you think I'm joking about this Hollywood stuff, you know, that you think that like Hollywood would start to say like, you know, all these people turned up as sort of saying that they don't care what we think and they don't care about our celebrities, and maybe they're just trying to stick it to us a little bit. Here is a show, I think it's from Fox. It's called Lucifer. It's about the devil, right, Lucifer, and he's walking the earth for some reason. I've never seen the show. He's walking the earth for some reason. He goes to see a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist starts to ask him about how hell works. Is there a special room for tyrants where he tortures tyrants? And here's his response.
So we can talk about Caligula, Stalin, Trump. I mean, I know he's not dead, but he's definitely going.
Lucifer, I owe you an apology.
Thank you so much, Hollywood, for your input and your wisdom. You're sitting, I mean, really, in all seriousness, you're sitting there, you've had a long day, you come back, you turn on Lucifer to watch some TV, and it's like some guy in Hollywood who's taken so much cocaine he doesn't know how many times he's been divorced is going to tell you that your guy is going to hell. It's like, shut up, entertain me, show me, tell me a story. There's a story in The Onion. I love this. I mean, this it's almost too real to be an Onion satire. It says DNC aiming to reconnect with working class Americans with new Hamilton-inspired Lena Dunham web series, saying the new effort would help them make critical inroads with low-income rural voters following a stunning election loss last week. The Democratic National Committee announced the launch of a new Hamilton-inspired web series Tuesday starring Lena Dunham, intended to connect with working-class Americans and address their most pressing concerns. We're hoping to make up the ground we lost with white working-class voters and union members who once made up our base with a new 10-part hip-hop musical set in rural Wisconsin featuring a down-on-her-luck manufacturing worker played by Lena Dunham, said DNC interim chair Donna Brazil. It's funny. It's only funny because it's absolutely true. They have learned. It's like Jon Snow in Game of Thrones. These people, you learn nothing, Jon Snow. You know nothing. These people know nothing. So, what's going on now in the Trump transition team, Mike Pence has taken over. And he's tossed out the lobbyist, which is a good thing. That's a great thing, right? You'd think even left-wingers would be celebrating that. He has purged the transition team of the Chris Christie people. Apparently Trump was unhappy about Bridgegate and the way he handled it. So now, here's the New York Times, a former newspaper. President-elect Donald J. Trump's transition was in disarray on Tuesday, marked by firings, infighting, and revelations that American allies were blindly dialing into Trump Tower to try to reach the soon-to-be leader of the free world. 1 week after Mr. Trump scored an upset victory that took him by surprise, his team was improvising the most basic traditions of assuming power. This is utter garbage. Utter garbage. Every transition team is in chaos. This is a very difficult job. They're on schedule for appointments. They're actually a little ahead of schedule with appointments. So, like I said, and what I like is Trump is tweeting back. Here's good Trump. Ben is always talking about good Trump, bad Trump. Here's Trump tweeting back. He says, the failing New York Times story is so totally wrong on transition. It is going so smoothly. Also, I have spoken to many foreign leaders. Very organized process taking place as I decide on cabinet and many other positions. I am the only one who knows who the finalists are. So it's The Apprentice, It's easy. He's been doing this for years, It's going like now. So anyway, you just can't believe, you cannot believe the reporting. Here, this is from NBC News. Yesterday, Trump snuck away from the press and went out to have dinner with his family, steakhouse, right? This is from NBC News, right? NBCnews.com. As Trump leaves press behind for steak dinner, incoming admin already showing lack of transparency. I can't believe I'm not actually making this up. I'm not. In a highly unusual move, President-elect Donald Trump on Tuesday night left his Manhattan residence without notifying the reporters covering him or giving any indication of where he was going. The maneuver seemed to deliberately limit access to the media. The only way the press eventually ascertained his whereabouts was after a Bloomberg reporter who happened to be dining at the 21 Club tweeted a photo of Trump and some of his transition team in the Midtown Steakhouse. Trump spokesman Hope Hicks later told NBC News he is having dinner with his family. Wife Melania, daughter Ivanka, her husband Jared Kushner, sons Donald Jr. and Eric Trump were all at the restaurant with his Tuesday night actions. I swear I'm not making this up. I'm reading this off the page. With his Tuesday night actions, the Trump administration is shaping up to be the least accessible to the public and the press in modern history. The guy, listen, and so let me just remind you, here's an AP story from last year. This is about the Obama administration. Leak investigations, seizing phone records, using FOIA-dodging private email addresses. The Obama administration routinely makes a mockery of its long-ago pledge to establish itself as the most transparent administration in U.S. history. Now comes another blow via the Associated Press. They report that the administration more often than ever censored government files or outright denied access to them under the U.S. Freedom of Information Act. In about a third of instances, the government conceded that initial decisions to withhold or censor documents were improper under the law. The backlog of it goes on and on. The Obama administration has been acknowledged by even the left-wing press to have been one of the least transparent in history. Trump had dinner. Trump had dinner. This is the press, academia. Ben Shapiro was almost arrested. They threatened him with arrest. Where is he? He was DePaul, right? In Chicago. He went to make a speech. They had 30 security guards because you know how much Shapiro resembles Schwarzenegger, right? It's like, I am Ben Shapiro. I will take 30. I can take 29 security guards, but 30 I must retreat. They were threatening him with arrest for speaking on campus. Do these people see themselves? They're just, I don't know if this was a coincidence. Tucker Carlson on his new show had a DePaul journalist professor on and basically asked her, does she understand what she's doing? Listen to this.
Isn't it time for some sort of affirmative effort to bring people who disagree from other walks of life into your world?
Well, we certainly try to foster discussion, debate, and have dialogue about the role of free speech on college campuses, the role of free speech in society, and certainly I think that this election does bear out that we need to find ways to reach across partisan divides and speak with those who do not share our own views.
Well, fostering a conversation about free speech is different from allowing free speech. I noticed, unfortunately.
I have to pay tribute to the lady for coming on Fox News. She actually put herself, and Carlson did a great job interviewing, but she wouldn't admit that there were no Trump voters in the academic administration. She wouldn't admit that they don't let people talk. People are being fired for supporting Trump, boycotted for supporting Trump, all this violence. Here's Jamel Bouie, I think, the chief political correspondent from Slate. And the reason they call it Slate is to write for it, you have to be as dumb as a paving stone. That's why they call it Slate. You have to be as stupid as Slate to write for this. There's no such thing as a good Trump voter. There's no such thing as a good Trump voter. People voted for a racist who promised racist outcomes. They don't deserve your empathy. That's a tip of the hat to Slate. Reaching out across the aisle. You're all racist. You all suck. Jason Riley, who is a terrific reporter he works with the Manhattan Institute, my friends, and he writes for the Wall Street Journal. His pieces appear in the Wall Street Journal. He did something I have not seen a single other reporter do. Jason's black. This guy who wrote for Slate is also black. Jason walked out into Harlem and started interviewing people on the street, okay? And he found none of them would admit, and by the way, I believe a lot of black people voted for Trump. I believe Trump got a large number of the black voters who would not tell largely white pollsters probably that they voted for him. I really do believe this. But Jason goes out and he talks to him. He says, this may come as a shock to the political left, but not everyone who opposed Donald Trump is as angry or despondent as the demonstrators who grabbed headlines nationwide over the past week or the pundits who intellectualized the Democratic hissy fit. On Monday, I took a stroll around New York City's Harlem neighborhood and asked a couple of dozen black residents to respond to the election and subsequent protests. I didn't come across any Trump voters, or at least any who admitted it, but many told me they had expected Hillary Clinton's defeat. No one thought it was the end of the world. And then he gives quotes of people saying, well, if he does this, I'll be happy. If he does that, I won't be happy. These are the things I'm looking for. Jason goes on at the end of the piece. He says, anti-Trump demonstrations are in many cases organized and supported by people who make a living manufacturing outrage. Al Sharpton's National Action Network, MoveOn.org, Showing Up for Racial Justice, the Equity Coalition. And this, by the way, is a parenthetical thought. These are the people who get interviewed as if they're ordinary people. They get interviewed in the press. He says the protests are likely to continue off and on, at least until the president-elect's inauguration. But Mr. Trump should understand that some of the minority voters who opposed him are open-minded, even swayable. They are more tolerant than the Democratic partisans and professional protesters would have him believe. The people I spoke with want to see their president succeed, not to deny his legitimacy because their preferred candidate didn't win. They're keeping things in perspective. They haven't written him off. As one man put it, if Trump can go in there and shake things up a little, he ain't got to complete everything, but shake things up and make things a little better. I'd like that. Why? Because they're Americans. Oh yeah, they're not just black people. You know, it's like they're not professional black people. They're American citizens. They want the president to do well, and many of them, I'm sure, many of them voted for Donald Trump and won't admit it. Hey, we got to say goodbye to you on Facebook and YouTube, but come on over to the Daily Wire. You can hear the rest. If you subscribe, you can watch the rest, and you can be in the mailbag, which is coming up.